everyone, Melanie Minshinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I have a really simple project for you with my newest set from Gina K Designs, Serene Skies, and you are going to love using these bird silhouettes, greetings, and then power line fins and branch elements to create really gorgeous skies. I had so much feedback about this card. I've got other videos though coming up for you about how you can do a very simple blend to create a really dramatic sky that has also a lot of light but also a lot of contrast. Let's go ahead and get right into the other products that I used to create this card, and I'll talk more about the set as I go. In addition to the stamp set, I am going to be using some blending brushes from Gina K. I like to use a different brush for each color family, the blues, the purples, the pinks, etc. You don't have to do that, but it just cuts down on the amount of washing that you have to do or worrying that you are muddying up a color. You can keep them really true, but you can use light and dark blues with the blue and so on. The inks that I'm using to do my stamping today, I've got the Gina K Black Onyx Amalgam ink, really nice solid black. The ink pads that I'm using for my sky, I've got some of the blue Denim, the Passionate Pink, and then the Plum Punch. I'm going to be using some Connect glue to assemble this card, and then the cardstock that I'm using today, I have got some of the powder blue. We have a coordinating cardstock for each of these colors, and all of those would be beautiful. I just decided to take it down a little bit and use a lighter blue just to kind of brighten the card up a little bit. So, but you try it with these other colors. I would love to see how it would look. I know that they would all be spectacular and really great with the coordinating inks. So I've got the powder blue for my base. This is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5.5. Then I have got some of the Gina K Pure Luxury White. So this is a nice smooth cardstock for doing your blending. I have cut this to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and that's going to be my back layer. And then out of this, I cut this stitched rectangle frame with one of the Master Layouts 2 die set, or dies from that Master Layout set. This set is currently sold out as of May 19th, as is my stamp set, but they are both on reorder, so you can get on the wait list for these. It's not an obligation to purchase, but it just is going to allow you to get a notification when it's back in stock. So that's my thrifty tip. If you cut it out of a piece that you can layer onto your base, slide a layer in between. That's just going to add some really nice contrast there and give more layered look, and you know that it is going to cover up the hole because this is the exact size. So this is just slightly bigger, and let's go ahead and sorry, I've had too much coffee this morning. I'm having a hard time talking. So we've got the Misty that we can use for getting a really solid stamp on those birds. And then I've also got a long grid line block that I like to use for stamping those power lines. I think I pointed out everything, the Connect glue, the ink, the dies. Okay, so let's go ahead and get going. I do have a piece of scratch paper just to put down underneath my craft mat, but these are washable. I also want to point out, sometimes people have said in the comments, you know, it's kind of wasteful to use a different paper every time. That's just for the video. I do use these over and over again, so you can see I test out my inks, how things are stamping, the blend, over and over again with my paper, but I want to use a nice fresh one so you can really see the color and what I'm doing. So let's go ahead. So we always want to start, because I don't want to smear this ink, I want to start with my sky, and I like to look up references, either my own pictures or really dramatic sunsets or sunrises online to kind of help me pick out the colors and where I want to put them. So I'm going to begin with my darkest color. I'm going to put the blue up at the top, and I really admire people who are able to have the patience and then the technique down to really get a nice smooth blend, but it's not necessary for a really dramatic sky. And I think that all the painting that I have done in the last few years has really helped me kind of see how to make my skies and how to have certain portions be really light, certain portions really dark, but that's going to be how you're going to really create the drama in your cards. And so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of leaving some white areas, So it looks like there's just some clouds. And that's how you're going to create the light in your cards, by having very dark areas and then some lighter areas. And then I'm going to start, you know, always swirl it around on your pad. Start off of your cardstock to see how heavy your ink is going, and you can always add more. So I'm just putting just a little down here just so it'll fade into that pink. And if you end up getting a stray mark, so I think there was kind of like a little hair or maybe something that got stuck in there, guess what? We just put our bird right over that. So you can just keep on going. Don't stress out too much about like an even area. And we can go back and, you know, do a little bit more if certain areas seem splotchy to you. Now let's go in with our pink at the bottom. And I love how the stitching on this die cut, see, it's going to be so pretty, that pink. And I wouldn't have necessarily thought, you know, my sunset or sunrise pictures don't usually have this much contrast in this area where I live, the light, but you can find some really gorgeous shots online. Okay. So keep adding that. And then I'm going to go up into the blue. Okay. And then let's do the purple. So I know that the pink and the blue are kind of blending here to create its own purple shade, but adding this third color is really going to make a big difference on your card. Okay, so I'm going to just swirl that around on my Plum Punch pad. It's one of my favorite colors here. And I just want to put it kind of above and below. And I'm leaving a lighter spot there, kind of for my greeting. Now you can put this, I'm going to show you back, reference my card. You could put this down in the corner, or I really like how these split greetings can go above and below the line. I just think that adds a lot of drama to it. I'm going to put a little bit of that darker purple up here. See how that's just really giving more dimension there. So now it looks like the underside of a cloud. And I might stamp these birds a little bit lower down. I like to use a rule of thirds when I'm kind of creating my layouts, by not putting it directly in the middle, so they can go a little bit above or a little bit below. But I think this is just going to make the eye travel down the card. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I want to stamp my power line next, and that is going to give me a place to ground the birds. If you're going to be putting them on a power line, you always want to stamp that power line first. So I'm going to grab the straight one. I just want to point out, I have one that's already curved for you, but this straight one can be curved on the block in a different way if you want. This curve though, it's just really nice and easy to use. And then I've got the one that already has some on it that you can put the greeting on, or that you can add more to. But let's do the straight one to look like this card. I'll show you some other samples near the end of the video, and you can tell me which one. So if you just lay that on there real gently, that's going to be nice and straight. Whoop. So let that, if it's kind of sticky, it might want to pop up and change its shape. But if you just lay it on there gently before you press it, it's going to create a straight line. Okay, now we're going to ink this up. Okay, and I just want this to be parallel to the bottom of my panel. Okay, so pardon my head if I get in the way. Put it right about here. Lift up, okay. Now we're gonna pick out some bird silhouettes. So the two that I picked kind of looks like they're kissing or talking to each other, and depending on whether this is a friend or a lover or a spouse, you might want to position them a little bit closer or a little bit farther away. So I am going to do, and then you could use we have large and small silhouettes in here, and so that's really nice for representing maybe an older and a younger person, or two of similar size being peers. So I just like kind of anthropomorphizing them that way and thinking about those relationships when you're thinking about who you're sending the card to. But I'm going to go ahead and use the two that I used on my sample card, and then I have a suggestion at the end, but I wanted to make this one exactly like the first one. Then I'm going to tell you another way that you could adapt this design that I think would be really fun. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. And you want to always line up the little feet, or if you can't see the feet, just the base of that tail with your power line. Okay. And I just, and I want to leave enough room for my greeting. So I'm going to grab that love you. Make sure these fit on here. Love you more each day. Okay. So a little bit further. Just like that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close the door. All right, so let's get these inked up. So I'm going to go all over, and if I have any areas that skip, I'm just going to be able to do it over again. And I forgot to have my little tool, a little Chucky tool. So I'm going to do that again. Pick it up again. Okay. One more time. More time. Okay. Okay, and if you want to add, I feel like I want to put maybe just a little something. So you see the difference here. So I had this off camera, but so we have a little bit more white here in this area. I think I want to, because I kind of left out that white space there, went a little heavy-handed with the plum. I'm going to put a little bird flying up here just to give it a little extra something there in the corner. I'm gonna grab a small little block so I can put this in the distance. Okay, now let's go ahead and assemble our layers, and then I will show you a couple more layouts that I have coming up. All right, so our connect glue, we're going to center this on here. And I just used just a very light bead of ink around the edge, or you can even put just a little bit in the corners. Get that centered there. All right, and then put this just right close to the edge. Actually, I'm gonna put this on first. Just make sure that I get it centered and squared up there. So the other idea that I had for this is you could also do the same layout. I have all of these birds and these Powerline elements set so that they can go portrait or landscape style on your cards. And so a really fun way to use this, whoop, that moved. Hang on. Okay, all right. And just like that. And if before assembling these layers, if you want to go back in and put a little bit more dark ink on, you can do that. So do that before you add it to the white layer. So the other idea that I had for stamping this is that you could turn it sideways. You can do your dark ink up here, your lighter ink down here. You can have your line going across this way, and you could have I love you to the moon, and then put in the and back in the side. So a longer greeting would work on this layout if you flipped it sideways. I'm not speaking very well today. Sorry about that. Okay, and then I want to put, I'm also going to grab just one of these tiny little birds and just add it to the back like a little logo. Same thing, you could put some of the birds inside. Forget to show that a lot of times in my videos, but I know you love to see things done on the inside of the cards. But I hope that you enjoyed seeing how easy it is to do the blending. Again, if you don't feel comfortable with this type of blending, then just grab a stencil. We've got wonderful cloud stencils and sunset stencils in our Gina K collection. Here are some other examples that I've got showing without blending the sky. So this is just a stencil here, this sunset that I showed you, or what is this one called? I think it's Sunshine. Okay. And then this is from the Pocket Full of Sunshine stamp set kit. I think that's what it's called. I'm sorry. And then I've got one here where I did a very simple one with embossing the sun or the moon, and then so I will come back and show you how you can put these birds onto a very simple fence. Another one showing how you can use the curved power lines and then using some of those branches, and even creating trees from the branch and the clouds. This is another one that I loved from the release. Anyway, so thanks so much for waiting for this video. I have been really busy turning in other stamp sets for our other upcoming releases, as well as I have more samples to create with the new set that is coming out on the 28th. So I am so excited to share that with you, but thanks so much again for the love and for being patient on these videos. More to come. I am going to be recording more this week, so look for those on our Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Facebook page. I have got the inspiration sheet with all of the layouts for these cards in our files section, and then these will be on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching today, everybody. God bless.